Alright guys, let's talk about Season 1 and why you don't want to start planning right now. There's a lot of content creators that are like, plan your next season, how to get ready for it. This is kind of a video similar to that, but I'm telling you guys, as a player that has played many seasons of Diablo 3 and other previous action RPGs, you don't ever want to plan your character for the next season before they announce what's happening. And the reason why I'm telling you guys this is I want you guys to actually understand the game, because again, sometimes content creators, they're just playing Diablo because it's like a hot game right now. I've been playing this game for many, many years, been working as a Diablo partner and showing you guys everything that I can with this game to really get ahead of the curve here. And the reason why you don't want to actually make a season character right now in terms of like your plan, as in people are going in their like D4 planners and basically building out characters for the season. And a lot of you guys have came to my live stream and have asked me, what are my plans for Season 1? What are you creating? What class are you playing? What build are you playing? Whatever the case may be. And the thing is you do not want to start right now. And the reason why is because this is kind of how a season works. So the season is going to be a little bit different because it has a battle pass that's kind of new to Diablo, but for the most part, it's something kind of like the season journey. There's a bunch of stepping stones to it, and as you progress, there's a free battle pass. And if you played the other Diablo games before and look at the season journey for, let's say, Diablo 3, a lot of these you'll just kind of complete. It's not going to be something super difficult, but you do have to make a brand new character, which will start off at level 1. You do not share your stash space with your non-seasonal characters, and non-seasonal characters cannot play with seasonal characters, just as like a little quick rule here. But the main reason why I don't want you guys to start right now is because there's going to be certain things get introduced that can completely change up how the build actually works for your character. There could be buffs, there could be nerfs, there can be brand new items that maybe you never even thought were possible, and I'll get into that in a second here. But starting right off, this is kind of what you do in the season. You have this sort of season journey where you start completing these things. Usually you can get some sort of stash tab. This was actually data mined previously, but then you get some sort of cosmetic reward in the game. And as far as like the season mechanic, this is the big thing, and this is the reason why you don't want to start your character now. This was a previous season where you get like a portrait and a pet. This was like a reward as part of the season journey. Pretty much at the end, this was like the cool reward that you got. So what it comes down to is this right here. What you're seeing is called the Altar of Rites. This is the most updated season that we have in Diablo 3, which basically added a skill tree, and the skill tree would give us insane amounts of damage. We're talking like 50% damage in different like nodes here. We can get increased like movement speed, extra resources, a lot of bonuses at the end of the day. Let us basically speed run through the game a lot faster. It only took me 1 hour to go from creating a brand new character to all the way to max level for this season of Diablo 3. And so don't worry too much about like having to re-level. But the main reason why I wanted to tell you guys it's not good to start planning right now and start going on any build websites and getting your stuff ready until we get the brand new information. What are the new legendary powers? What is the season mechanic? Now this one over here, every single class had the exact same skill tree, so it was relatively equal. But not all seasons are created equally for every single class, and this is the most important reason why I'm telling you guys, do not start your character planners right now. So, for example, there are tons of different new skills sometimes. For this one was for like one of the seasons where we got the change on the followers. We got a bunch of reworks and a vast amount of new things got added to the game, which would make it so a lot of stuff that you may build are completely worthless, or items that you would drop. They actually had this tag over here called new item, and so over here we can see that they actually made basically a brand new item. So sometimes what they do in seasons is they take other items that no one uses. I'm talking like, basically maybe there's one player out there that was using some like item that it was just kind of bad, right? They'll take the artwork for the item. It'll have the exact same name, but it's going to do a completely different effect. Now, sometimes in Diablo, when they create a newer item, if you have the old item, it will just be converted. Sometimes it will stay as the older item and it can never drop in the game again. There are certain things called legacy items that you could get long time ago that you could never get in the game. Like certain older things, like for example, Null Heal could give you extra like resource, but you can never get the item to drop again because now it's gotten changed to something else, right? So this was an item that worked, and it was something where Bone Spirit would get increased damage, but then they made it so it worked only with armies of the dead, and it changed like the bonus against command skeletons. So it did a completely different thing. So sometimes what they do is they take an item again that no one uses and they completely rework the way it works, but they keep the same artwork, the same name, and whatever the case may be. So if you have an item that is super bad, specifically the uniques, they have been buffing them. The most recent like mega patch, they did buff them. So if you have some of these uniques that are kind of bad, maybe hold on to them, and then you can decide later with the new seasonal announcement if it's worth even keeping it at all. That's up to you. But for the most part, newer items do come out. Sometimes, again, they rework an older item, but it does not behave the same, so it's essentially a new item. At the end of the day, there's newer legendaries. Another thing is that your class that you're playing, let's say I play Barbarian, right? Sometimes for certain seasonal patches, there is nothing new for Barbarian. Like they don't add anything new for Barbarian. They make things for, let's say, the Witch Doctor or the Necromancer. They make a lot of cool new things for another class. Your class, if it doesn't have anything new, if you're happy with that, by all means, sure. But they usually add a bunch of new things for every single class. This was actually season 25 over here. This is where they had these soul shards that can give you massive amount of thorns. You would socket these in your weapons, then give you massive amount of damage, and basically a bunch of different stats that were added into the game. And this was available for all classes, similar to the one I just showed. But sometimes there are items or powers that are only available for one class that completely change up the gameplay. This one over here was a season 27 monk, and what they added was a special item. These were like white items, and these items, what they would do is they'd have a brand new special power, and the power would completely change how a skill worked. Normally with this skill called Wave of Light, you would throw it down and it would just do some damage. But then with the special new season, what they would add into it is some special thing where like the bell would come down, and then you would actually have to attack the bell, and then they would explode, and it would do massive amounts of damage. It did something completely different, so it changes up the playstyle of your build. There's even ways where like you could spin on a demon hunter and activate a skill that you normally could not activate. That was also another thing that was added in season 28. So instead of looking at this where like, you know, you have your favorite character, you have your favorite class, you have a favorite skill, like let's say I love Whirlwind, right? Maybe, okay, this is not like confirmed, I'm not giving you guys any secret information that the Diablo partner group sent me or anything like that, but I'm just letting you guys know there could be something crazy. Like for example, the rogue could get basically a whirlwind skill where they start spinning and they just shoot arrows out of everywhere. And then if you're a fan of the whirlwind barbarian, maybe you'd want to play the rogue next season because you haven't played rogue before and you kind of like that playstyle. So that's the main core point of this video. And also another important thing with this in terms of what do I plan to play, I also want to mention things that are seeing a lot less play have a high potential to either receive a buff, or some of the best things could receive a nerf. So if you want to play certain things right now, you may want to play them now because they may not exist in the future. The only skill right now in the entire game that I could potentially see getting a huge nerf really is Bone Spear, but that's all Necromancer has. So if everything doesn't get buffed with Necromancer, Bone Spear will absolutely dominate and be like the only build majority of people play, even though there is you know, some other buffs that would come out. That skill has some potential to be nerfed, so if you wanted to play that, that might be your option. But like, as far as Barbarian goes, every single core skill is pretty viable, so I wouldn't worry too much about that. The only skill, again, would be Necromancer with the Bone Spear. Like, if you're, like, you know, I saw someone play that, I really like how much damage it does, it looks insane. You may want to play that now, and that happens with Diablo in terms of seasons. Certain builds just become so strong that everyone plays them, therefore they're going to be getting nerfed in the next update. So that would be the only one in terms of, like, giving you guys some feedback on things that would be maybe subject to change. But as far as Barbarian goes, like I said, I wouldn't worry about too much things. Hoda can hit pretty hard, but is a lot slower in terms of kind of how the mechanic works. Stormwolf Druid is very, very, very powerful, so that would be maybe something that could receive a small nerf, but Bone Spear, just, it hits insanely hard and requires very little gear, so that might be something that you might want to go ahead and play. Even on Rogue, I guess Twisting Blades is pretty much like the most popular. I mean, like, look at this, like the popular builds, it's just two different variants of Twisting Blades at the end of the day. I don't really see that one getting nerfed too hard. If it does get a nerf, I mean, it already got nerfed so many times. I think they're okay with that. But again, maybe the new season mechanic will make it so your Twisting Blades infinitely spin, and then you can have a completely different build. Again, that's the whole point of this video, is saying that, like, in terms of right now, it's not good to start thinking about creating a new character for the next season because there's so much information that we don't know. We don't even know what the season mechanic is, whether your character can benefit off of it or not, because there could be, for example, a mechanic where there was a season like this in Diablo 3 where they would have these rings that would spawn in, and if you were inside of the ring, you would do some sort of bonus to damage or resource or stuff like that. But if you're playing a melee character and the ring spawns super far away, you may not want to walk over it to the ring to get your bonus damage because you're playing a melee character. character. So melee characters may suffer more than a ranged character if you have to hold still for the season mechanic. And that's the whole point of this video, is basically to say, don't start your seasonal character right now in terms of planning. There is going to be a live stream update that's going to be happening on the 6th. So I'll be covering that, and I'll let you guys know, what that actually looks like. And hopefully they'll tell us a little bit more about the season mechanic, and we're going to get the season release date. And lastly, I'll end it off in terms of like the season start. When does it start? Because it's a very frequently asked question. It's going to be starting, they said, mid to late July. More likely they'll announce it in the next upcoming week here. But yeah, to answer your guys' question that I kept on getting asked, which is like, what am I playing? I haven't planned for anything.
Do I really look like a guy with a plan?
If nothing gets changed, okay, let's say absolutely nothing gets changed, I will probably end up playing a rogue once again, because it was the most fun class that I personally enjoyed. But that's if nothing gets changed, which they're going to change some stuff. There's probably going to be new uniques, I'm hoping, or just unique buffs, or we're going to get brand new legendary powers. Hopefully it's going to be a very big season. But anyways, that's my thoughts on it, and that's my answer to your guys' question. Yeah, don't start building right now. But that's going to wrap it up. If you guys enjoyed the video, for the information, drop a like, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.